Thank you, thank you. It has been a tremendous few days here as we've learned of this incredible news. If you haven't figured it out by now, I'll just go ahead and say it. Greensboro is going to host the National Folk Festival 2015, 16, 17, right here in Greensboro, North Carolina. There's so many folks involved, and we'll talk about this in a few minutes, but I want to take this opportunity right now to introduce the organizers of the National Folk Festival from an organization called the National Council for Traditional Arts. And I'm going to bring them up to talk a little bit about what the festival is all about and tell us a little bit about the process and, of course, why we were chosen. So I'm going to bring up Julia Olin and George Holt. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Is the mic too far away? Well, I am George Holt, and I have the privilege of serving as chairman of the board of the National Council for the Traditional Arts. I've been a long-time board member, but was just recently elevated to the chairmanship status. So it's been a little bit of a learning curve to me, but I'm so pleased to be stepping in to the office at this particular time, because not only am I chairing the NCTA board, I've been living in North Carolina for more than 40 years, and my dad was born and raised here. So I could not be more familiar and appreciative of the many charms and wonderful attributes the city has to offer, and I can't imagine a more compatible community for this festival. It's a special event with a long and distinguished history and legacy. It began in 1934 in St. Louis. It's been all around the country, but it has never been to North Carolina. So this is a great day for the city of Greensboro, the state of North Carolina, and to the National Council for the Traditional Arts. Julia and I were completely bowled over by your campaign to win this bid. We give all due respect to Tom Fillion, who we realized was the Grand Wizard of Oz, the great orchestrator. Of this very successful campaign. I've got to say, I had to work mighty darn hard to keep my objectivity and some kind of semblance of check, because it was hard to do, because I so badly wanted the festival to be presented here. So this is a personally just fantastic day for me. Just all of your participation in this event today is just further evidence to us that we made a very sound decision, and the group of movers and shakers that Tom helped bring together, including your mayor and everyone else, convinced us that not only did Greensboro possess a thorough understanding of what the festival means and what it's all about, but also had an equal comprehension of the enormous magnitude of it as a logistical challenge. And we know that Greensboro has a long history of putting on major national big events, and we went away comforted that you were more than up to the task. So we couldn't be more thrilled. It is a pleasure for me now to introduce the woman who really is the person who makes it all happen and has been managing this festival to some astonishing results over more than 20 years. So please join me in welcoming the Executive Director of the NCTA, Julia Olin.
Well, George did not overstate the effect of the passion that Greensboro showed during our visit. In fact, we sort of went away thinking that if we didn't select Greensboro, we might not ever see our families again. But while George is a North Carolinian, that really had nothing to do with it. We are as excited as you are to be here. We think that together we are going to be able to produce some of the most exciting national folk festivals that have ever taken place. You know that the event is the oldest multicultural traditional arts festival in the country, and it was the first to put on the same stage artists of many nations, races, and languages. It was the first festival to bring out a Cajun band, to bring out Tex-Mex music to a national audience, to present Peking opera. The list goes on and on. It was the first event that featured W.C. Handy, father of the blues, on a desegregated stage. Eleanor Roosevelt was honorary chair for 5 years in the 1930s when the festival was held at Constitution Hall. And while we are very proud of the history of the festival, we're also very proud of the modern National Folk Festival. In the mid-'80s, it became a traveling festival, and today it not only reflects our heritage, but it's the link between our history and our living contemporary culture. The festival presents deeply American arts, from those of the First Peoples who have been here for millennia, to those traditions that have developed over hundreds of years, to those of the very most recent immigrant groups, because together, that is the face of the United States in the 21st century. So this is an event for everybody. It will be a 2.5-day event that kicks off on a Friday evening, runs all day Saturday night, and Sunday till about 6 or 7 o'clock. There'll be continuous music on at least 6 stages. There'll be a family area. There'll be regional and ethnic foods. There'll be a festival marketplace, and there will be a folk life area devoted entirely to the traditional culture and heritage of the state of North Carolina. So while the world is coming to Greensboro, and we bring in the finest artists from around the country, the festival is also going to be celebrating local and state culture, because you have a very, very rich state, very rich traditions here that deserve to be honored and celebrated. The festival, when we started traveling in the 80s, we discovered something, and that was if we teamed up with cities and local nonprofits and other partners within the community, together we could do twice as much as the National Council could ever do by itself. And we beginning with Lowell, in Lowell, Massachusetts, it's now in its 28th year, and 175,000 people attended last year. So we discovered that the festival has great appeal, and that it brings economic benefits to cities, that it brings the community together, that it seeds new activities. And we've seen it again and again and again. In Bangor, Maine, where we went in 2002, this is a city of 34,000 people, 80,000 people came the first year. By the time we left, 3 years later, 150,000 people were attending the festival, and these numbers are what we have seen. Of course, the festival is free, but that's what we would want. We want everybody to come to this event and enjoy this event. So there you have it, and we've got a big job on our hands. But I think we're all up to it, and we couldn't be more excited to get going. Thanks.
Thank you, Julia. Well, this is incredible news, and from the very beginning of this process, our biggest partner has been the city. Just an incredible outpouring of support and investigation and exploration, and looking at lots of things, from transportation to security to the downtown environment, and what we have to do in order to make this happen. But we couldn't have done it without the city's help and support in this. And I'd like to welcome and invite Nancy Vaughn, Mayor Nancy Vaughn, to come up and say a few words on behalf of the city.
Thank you. It is a great day to be on City Council. We don't get these announcements every day, and this is really wonderful. Julia, George, thank you so much for choosing the City of Greensboro. We are not going to let you down. This is definitely the place to be. On behalf of the City of Greensboro, I want to express how excited and honored we are to host the 2015, 2016, and 2017 National Folk Festival. An event like this just doesn't choose Greensboro. An awful lot of hard work went into it. We've had help from so many members, including the Governor McCrory. This would not have come to fruition would it not have been for everybody who was involved. And for that, I would like to recognize our staff. We had so much help from the fire department, the police department, parks and recreation, field operations, the water department, communications, the city manager's office. I know I've missed some department, but I want everybody to know how appreciated they are and how necessary they will be to make this the success that I know that it's going to be. Beyond the great music, dance, crafts, and food that comes with the National Folk Festival, our beautiful city will welcome up to 150,000 attendees. Just let that number sink in. With this, it can have an economic impact of somewhere between $15 and $30 million per year. That is a huge number that rivals the men's ACC tournament. This is great news for our hotels, restaurants, and shops. We are so excited that this is going to be a big event. Greensboro seems to be making a name for itself hosting national events. We take great pride in the events we've already hosted. For instance, we have hosted 23 ACC men's basketball championships, 12 women's ACC basketball tournaments. Back in 1974, we hosted a Final Four NCAA men's game. The 2011 U.S. Figure Skating Championships, and we're set to host them again in 2015. The Greensboro Aquatic Center has really outperformed our expectations, right with roads to the Olympics. We are so excited of the way that Greensboro really shines on the national stage. People recognize that when they come to Greensboro for an event, it is going to be first class, and they are going to see Southern hospitality at its best. So I can't wait to welcome you in 2015, and this is going to be so exciting for our city, and it's great that it's downtown and it's unticketed. It'll be in an urban environment that everybody is going to be able to share, and that's what is going to make this event so special and significant, that people in our community are going to be exposed to things that they may never see, whether it's the food or the costumes or the music, and this will really be wonderful for the city of Greensboro. Again, Julia, George, thank you so much. We will not let you down. Thank you.
Okay. When we've had another public official join us, and I want to welcome Pricey Harrison, who's with us today. This was a tremendous team effort. You've heard a little bit about the city, but it wasn't but a few months ago when a few of us sat around a conference room table and said, can we do this? Can we really do this? And it was amazing, because every person we asked to help, every person said yes. And before this process was over, we realized that we had a winner, that we could do this, that we could make it happen. And I'd like to introduce several of the people that helped us accomplish that. Cecilia Thompson from Action Greensboro. Henry Fourier from the Convention and Visitors Bureau. And I'd also like to ask Jim Westmoreland from the city to come on up. And is Jason Cannon? Jason, are you here? Come on up. Come on up.
Thank you. Again, my name is Jim Westmoreland. I'm the city manager here in Greensboro. And let me just echo what the mayor has said. What an exciting day in Greensboro. I want to give kudos to our city team and certainly all those who have been involved in planning this event. I know that from the perspective of the discussions that we've had at our level in talking about what this event could mean to Greensboro, we're ready, we're excited, we're prepared to handle this event come 2015, 16, and 17. But most importantly, this is a shot in the arm that our community needed. We're ready to host the state, we're ready to host the nation, we're ready to host the world, so thank you.
Well, I'm not sure if I could say much more than what everyone else has said. We're all very excited. Action Greensboro was thrilled to be a part of this recruitment process. When we saw the proposal on the table at that conference room, we all said this is going to increase not only quality of life but economic development for our city, and so it was a huge priority for us to step in with a great team and the foundations that support Action Greensboro, so we were really thrilled to be a part. So thank you all.
I'd like to make 3 real quick points. Excuse my appearance today. The Convention and Visitors Bureau is moving our offices, and they gave me one job today, and that was to open the glue can. So, Julia, you might think that you're going to have a bunch of clutches you have to work with. Yeah, think of it. We're not afraid to roll up our sleeves and do anything. Secondly, I'd like to take a little commercial, and really, this is a great venue that we're meeting in here today, and this was made possible by a substantial grant from the Greensboro Convention and Visitors Bureau. So we're happy to be here. And lastly, I've got a great staff too. They're all up against the wall, but Corey and Amy, y'all come up here, and Lauren, Ava, y'all all did the work day in, day out that makes me look good. But when I walked through the door, one of the first persons I made eye contact with was Julia Olin, and I went and gave her a big hug and said, "Julia, thanks for giving this to us." And she said, "Henry, y'all just overwhelmed us when we were here." And guys, that's because of who we are. It's easy to do. Most of you in this room today were part of the site visit when they were in town back on that frigid January date right after the snow. But Greensboro, come on guys, give yourselves a round of applause because you're the ones who got this here.
I'm not sure there's much left that I can say, but I'm Jason Cannon from downtown Greensboro, for those I haven't met as of yet, still new to the role to some degree. But when I received the call from Tom about this opportunity, it really is another jewel in the crown for what is happening and about to happen in downtown Greensboro. And so we're thrilled to be a part of this effort, and we promise to do all we can, Julia, along with the mayor and everyone else, to make this an extreme success for your festival and for our community. Thank you very much.
Well, there were many, many other people involved in this process from the very start, and one of the very first ones who said yes is seated right out here, and I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce Linda Carlisle, who is former Secretary of the Department of Cultural Resources from Greensboro and a tremendous supporter of the arts in our community.
Well, I'm not sure about being toward the end of this list of great speakers. I just want to say, though, that we're talking a lot about Greensboro, and there's been mention of it, but this is truly a statewide event. It is a great, great experience for our state to have this here, and there is no better city than Greensboro to host this on behalf of North Carolina. You know, when we think about it, I think in excess of 80% of the population of our state is within a day trip of Greensboro. So we've got an opportunity to bring people from all across our state to this wonderful event, to attract people, yes, from all over the country, but specifically in the Southeast. We're going to have so many folks who are going to get to know our great state and are going to be introduced to this beautiful city through this fabulous folk festival. And I keep hearing about all the folks who've been involved, and I see the large group that are here. I have to say, our work is just beginning. Now we get to show everyone the caliber of job that our city can do, as our mayor said. We may feel at times a little like the dog who's chasing the bus, and when he catches it, he's not sure what to do with it. There are going to be days when we probably wondered what we were thinking, but at the end of this, we're going to all have such incredible pride. And as we said at those early meetings, we don't view this as a 3-year run of the Folk Festival. We want this to be the beginning of a long history of Greensboro hosting an incredible festival every fall. And I think we can blow the numbers, Julia and George, out of the wazoo, because if you've been in North Carolina in the fall, there's no better place to be. And so we're going to have just such a wonderful opportunity to highlight what we're all about. And as many of you know, and as you'll learn as we go forward on this, the planning committee who's worked on this are not only talking about the Folk Festival, but also adding to this an incredible theme for Greensboro, focused on our wonderful history in freedom, and I believe it's called the Fabric of Freedom, and it's an opportunity for us to tell some other great stories about this community and to work collaboratively with other organizations, our Civil Rights Museum and others, to really tell this story and introduce folks to a better historical understanding of this region. But there's no state that has a richer and deeper history in the folk arts than North Carolina, and I can't wait. We've got about 15 months to get ready, and for all of you who've been involved, step up, bring along 10 more people, and we're going to make this happen. Thank you so much.